You'll never see a AA development for an SCP game, sadly.
I mean, that's fair, but at the same time, I feel like I wouldn't be opposed to it if it was really something somebody really wanted to do, like Microsoft or some shit for some reason.
But yeah, but they never would, is the thing. I'd love for there to be a good SCP game. There's a bunch of survival horror games that aren't terrible, but they're very clearly low budget. You seen all the shitty backroom games that have been coming out?
Define background.
Backroom.
Oh, yeah, I have seen those.
Absolutely baffles me. I think we've talked about it before. Backrooms really does feel like the Chinese knockoff of SCP.
It, so, like, it was cool when it was just an infinite hallway. I'll always say this because it kind of bothers me, and I think it's become a lot of people's opinion. But it used to be, um, just an infinite hallway, and that's what was scary about it. You were just trapped there, but then
Yep.
people added on to the lore, and I think the only thing that the original guy added was that it wasn't just infinite, there was always a way out. You just had to find it, but it was stupidly rare. I think that was it. I think that was the only thing he added.
I wish they did add to the lore. It doesn't even feel like they did. It feels like they just added things that are kind of to the side of it.
I think there's I'm
Like
pretty
SCP at the end of the day was ultimately a site where people did short form creative writing, right? That is not what Backrooms ever has been. Backrooms seems like the kids of these days trying to have an SCP, but not SCP though, because that's too old. It's shit like having almond water.
almond water.
Yeah, water. Like, I think it's intended as a funny haha joke, but it isn't. It's, I don't know. At the end of the day, like, it's like creepypasta. Creepypasta is 90% garbage. The
I
SCP stood out because as a community, they banished anything that didn't live up to their standards, even if that meant that their ever-changing standards banished an increasingly large amount of their shit.
I never did find the Pasta Man story for you, did I?
No.
I might do that here in a minute once I'm done doing this race challenge. I'm recording like a 10-minute clip of us because I just edited all my sound files. That includes like the car being louder, and then our voice should be on par with the car because that was something that me and Imbrian were going over my video about, and we complained was that I couldn't hear the engine and I couldn't hear the in-game music as well, so I could hear you and me in Discord itself. There we go. That's better. Trying to think of what I was gonna say. I don't know. I kind of agree personally. I also feel like one of the things that made the backrooms interesting compared to SCP was it was just a crazy wild land that there was always stuff in. What made it kind of funny now is that there's like a company that now works to explore the backrooms. And a lot of people like the company because all the shit that like the workers do is goofy. Because the workers are like, well, fuck, I'm already stuck here. Better try everything once. And just slowly, every time they try something, they just map out more and more of the place.
It just feels too quirky to me. It's like low random shit most of the time. The few times they do explore like an interesting element of the backrooms, it's I don't know, they just kind of ruin it.
Well, so
The short form stories aren't very interesting, and
I kind of like. So the thing I didn't like is that everybody always starts in the hallways. It feels weird. The fact that it's almost like infinitely expanding, and yet the thing where everybody starts is in the hallways. Like, you can't start in, like, the little water park area or anything like that. Trying to think of anything else from the backrooms I actually dislike. I don't know. Like, the thing that's cool...
I don't think there's anything I strictly dislike so much as nothing I like.
No, I like that, I like that literally, like, most of the ideas that would be accepted by the Foundation are accepted by the people who do the backrooms, which is why I think it's funny. Because it almost seems like a lot of the rejected content from the SCP Foundation has now been put into the backrooms.
I think that's 100% the case.
Well, whatever that scribble thing, that's supposed to be a parasite that lives in the back room was originally an SCP that was denied. I might redo that one. That was pretty bad.
I hate to sound rude, but the stuff that was not accepted into the SCP was usually not accepted for a reason.
No, I know. I'm not saying, like, I don't accept the reason. I just think it's funny that the things that aren't accepted were also the things that ended up going into the back room and adding a layer to it. So, like, I like the idea of an infinite corridor with different stuff added on. I do not like the idea of 80 billion different creatures that just live in the back rooms. Like, the back rooms almost reminds me of the universe that the Global Occult Coalition killed because they didn't know how to get rid of entities they didn't know what to deal with. You know what I'm talking about?
Vaguely.
It's a machine. It literally warps things out of our reality into another one. And they just kept doing it. They just kept sending that shit there. So there's like some instances, there's like 4 or 5 of everything in that reality. The reason why it's hilarious is because there's 2 peanuts in that reality. And it just, because one was out of containment and one was in containment, it went and broke the other one out. And then it just killed everything else. Just reminds me of that. It's like literally just breaking everything out. I'm trying to think of the other thing. Also, I now remember why I have like no money in this game.
True.
Yeah, because all the live events, remember, require us to buy new cars if we didn't already own them.
Yup.
Yep. I'm doing the live events so I can test my audio properly, since I have to use every single vehicle in the game.
It was an interesting way to slowly get all the cars. Because we're buying them, but we can never afford anything new.
Well, that's what it was. We'd have to like grind during the week to get the cars, or we'd have to grind on stream.
Yeah.
Because like Embrine and Mega Mini Titan would always have the money to do it, so they would always start their streams off with just playing the live events, but we would never have the money to do so. So we'd have to play the game and then get to the live events later. Also, I think I know why I'm actually really bad at video games compared to being decent.
Yeah?
I think I've talked to you about this before, where if I'm playing with you versus playing with myself, I do way better than I do. And you're not even playing with me, and I still have the feeling. I think I have a form of performance anxiety.
That could be it.
Oh, I mean, if I'm not thinking about how I'm talking to you and I'm actually paying attention to the game, I'm like doing super well. Like, I am 28 seconds ahead of the competition. And then I'm in a car I've never drove before, and I haven't ran off the road yet. But
So you do worse when you're with people, is what you're saying?
yeah,
It could make sense, yeah.
because I feel like I have to live up to a certain expectation, because I'm playing the game with people instead of playing it by myself. So that I'm holding myself up to my own expectation versus others. Because one of the things that I remember a lot of people telling me was, you rather have to be funny or you have to be good. And I know we're funny, but I always concern myself sometimes that I'm not good enough at a lot of games. I'm just trying to have fun. It's really all it is. I would like the person that's in like second to go away. And he hit a guardrail. Good job. Good AI. I don't know. I'm trying to think what I was gonna say. Damn it. I was gonna say something about how you were talking about how you were good at fighting games and stuff.
Yeah.
What about that one where you have to hit different keys? Would you play games like that?
You mean different keys?
You were playing one where you had to hit different keys on your keyboard to fight stick figures that were coming from your left and your right.
Oh no, that's 2 buttons.
Oh, I thought it was multiple different keys. My bad.
No, you just left click and right click. I guess that is a rhythm game, but I just played it a fuck ton briefly. So like, there was a point where I was just instinctually doing it. Okay. Have that.
I'm trying to think of other things. I don't know. I'm like doing really good, but I feel like if you and me were playing, I'd be doing really bad.
Well, I'm not good at it in comparison to other things, and that's mostly I haven't done it in a long time, so I'd have to practice a lot.
Are you talking about fighting games?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm literally gonna hit one button the entire time. If I accidentally slip and I hit, a Y or a triangle or something, that's just an accident. I'm gonna just keep hitting X. If I keep punching your face in, eventually you'll start bleeding. Even if my health is in the negatives.
Like I did say, we have that fighting game group, and like, if I go in there, there's a 50% chance someone is just goddamn grinding the game. Like just any game.
So if it's the new version of Z Fighters that Kilroy wants us to get, it's an online multiplayer fighting game, and there's like a hub and everything.
No, I know that. No, what I'm thinking is like they play fucking I can't think of the word. Well, right now they're playing Street Fighter a lot. Before they were playing Guilty Gear. They're obsessed. They're fucking obsessed. Like they'll play it goddamn 5 hours a day just in the training, practicing moves, and it's that level of dedication I refuse to have. Not that I can't have, I refuse to spend that much time building muscle memory for a fucking video game.
I don't think I would even do that either.
If it's fun, it's fun, but like that's not not something I'm willing to do. Not willing to do.
So one of the summit challenges forces you to play against other players, and 2 of the other players I'm fighting against have a limo.
Beautiful. Jealous. I kind of just stopped playing that at some point. Well, I guess it's pretty much after you stopped streaming.
I mean, I tried keeping up and playing it, but I didn't have the time because I was trying to get work and everything else organized again.
Yeah. For me, it just doesn't super interest me when I could just zoom off to the next game to be obsessed with.
See, I think my thing is with the Crew is I like how arcadey of a racing game it is. Like, I don't like a lot of the other ones that keep coming out, and if the Crew has a sequel, I'd like to stick around with it. But, you know, I also want to play other games.
Yeah, for me, I'm not like I played a couple racing games with you, but I'm not like the biggest into racing games. They're fun, but
That's what I'm saying, like, when we chose Sonic All-Star Racing, it was because we were choosing a racing game we both knew we would like that was basically Mario Kart.
yeah. And it was a good one. I liked it.
I forgot, did I tell you that I owned it on Xbox and I wanted you to play it, or... What
You
was
did
Okay,
a long time ago.
I was like, what was the
Well,
actual
I kept
reasoning?
seeing it on Steam and being like, we both like Sonic. It's a racing game. It's multiplayer. It could be a game that we could play. Because it's been historically kind of hard to get you to try games.
Well, it's more like I just don't want to pay money for a lot of them.
Yeah, that's the reason.
Also, I made another bank for my buck decision again. So one of these days, I feel like if I ever learn like the stock market, I should get into stocks. But for now, I'm just
I
gonna
thought
use
you were
magic.
doing stocks.
I have some, but I only have ones that I know that are like surefire ones, not like risky ones. That's what I mean.
Okay.
Like, I only invest in companies that are already doing well or already talking about performing, about doing these things. Like, you know, shit that's...
I think that's just wise investment.
Well, yeah, but it's like, I'm talking about like big companies. Like, I have a Disney, McDonald's, Walmart, and I have a, shit, what's the other one? I think it's Johnson and something. It's the company that fucked up one of the COVID things. But, like, the reason I, even bought stocks with them had nothing to do with COVID. I bought stocks with them because they were talking about making, for medicine, like medicine that's from,
I'm sending happy
different
thoughts.
herbs and a PhD? No, whatever's in weed. H8?
Oh, I can't recall.
Regardless, their stocks went from being like $28 to like 800 a stock, and I should have sold it then, but then COVID came around and then they fucked up their vaccine and it dropped it all the way back down to where it was at before. I don't know what it is currently, but I don't know. That company has a weird track record now. It was pretty decent. It was just, they made drugs very cheap, and they made it for the average person, which made their product quality and everything like that pretty decent. And they're not really a company that's aimed around making profits. They're aimed around just supplying hospitals. So,
Respectable, at least.
yeah. I need to check up on those stocks, actually. Something I did learn while we were watching stream, and I noticed a lot of streamers do it, but I didn't do it, and I should have caught on to it earlier. When somebody asks something in chat, even if I'm waiting on a response, I should phrase it as a continuing question instead of phrase it as a statement. So, like, for example, if they ask us what we're doing, I'll be like, oh, we're playing the Crew 2, if you'd like to join, you can, and then I continue on, like, asking Ben, like, you a question about, like, the game or something. I didn't think about it, because there's a lot of gaps where, like, I'm waiting for somebody to answer in chat, and there's one point in the game where, like, you, me, Maddie, nobody's talking. Not a single soul. And it's, like, a 4-minute gap.
There's a lot of times there just wasn't anything to talk about.
We had to make up a lot of stuff. There's like a one of the ones where it's like we ace all of it was the name of the video, where we were trying to go around every single race and ace every single one of them. And that was the same video where we got stuck on one of the stock car races where we couldn't get in front because there's so many curls. It's like it does like a big S, and then it has a long straightaway with a long turn, and then it does a really short S. I remember the map, but we could never get in front of the AI on that one.
Yeah.
And I think you ended up doing it, and we won, so we were able to leave. There is like, that video is 5 hours long, but there's a solid 2 hours of us just talking. Like, there's not a single gap, and if there's a gap, it's like a second. We were talking about the. We were talking about. I think it had something to do with. It was politics or something else. It was something weird. I just thought it was funny that we were able to talk that long.
Fair.
That's not that bad. That car looks very spicy.
Hmm?
It's it was a I don't know what they're called. Oh my gosh. August 9th through the 6th is a street showdown, and it says all half of these are going to be drift challenges. Me being like, nah, I won't be able to play. Vehicle required, vehicle required, vehicle required. Vehicles required for this one. Okay, so for like the bundle that's in the current summit right now, I'm missing 4 vehicles out of it. Do you want to know how much the summit is? Like to get those 4 vehicles as a bundle, which gives it to us for 20% off.
$20 million.
Pretty close, 5 million.
God.
I have 2 million, and I had like 900,000 before I came back to the game. So I've only gained like 300,000 from.
It took so long to make money in that game.
Like there are ways to grind it, but I don't want to watch the same video over and over again. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't want to grind it. And quite frankly, I don't think I want to play that game as much on my own anymore.
Well, that was the thing. I didn't like playing it on my own, but I'm playing it on my own to get back into it.
Yeah.
Also, so I was talking to some of the VTubers, and they were talking to me, asking me if I was gonna have a story for my character, and I asked them what they meant by that, and they're like, "Are you gonna have a story, you know, for your character that you're making?" And I was like, "You mean like lore?" And they're like, "Yeah." It's like, no.
Well, why not?
So well, the thing was, right, is that the crew was originally just supposed to be like the story we came up with was supposed to be like a group or like a kind of mob kind of thing that was about like street racing and something else.
Yeah.
I don't really remember actually what the whole story was, but that was the idea. Hmm. Okay, I'm gonna stop my recording now that